Hi, first thing first, I'll be explaining to you all about a static analysis for Zeus malware. I'll be right now going to VirusTotal. So it is generally advisable to put a malware via an antivirus scanner before doing any basic static analysis on it. This is done to see if the virus has ever been examining or it bears the file signature of any previously identified malware. If the malware is recognized by antivirus, it will be easy. It will be easier time analyzing it since we will already have rough grasp of how it functions and can make a note of significant artifacts to watch out for. So first thing first, as you can see, it's a 65 out of 70 70 we, the suggested we sorry about that. We have received 65 out of 70 antivirus program, and it has identified as dangerous and suspicious. As you can see, most of it are Trojan, or they most of them are found as a backdoor or suspicious, unsafe. So next, we're going to details. So with these details, as you can see, there are hash values of MD5, SHA-1, and SHA-256. With this information, we are able to show you with the next few tools that we'll be using. It has identical, and with these tools, we have to match with this uh with the hash values. So next, we'll be using Oxford Meta Defender. So it's similar to VirusTotal. As you can see, same thing. It has 14 out of 18 engines that have threats detected. And you can see it has same values as VirusTotal as compared to here. It has same values. Okay, next I'll be explaining before we start everything, we'll be checking whether the malware is able to analyze with a static analysis. So we'll be using hybrid analysis. With this hybrid analysis, we are able to retrieve information that is able to help us. On the top right, with this hybrid analysis, it's able to show you is malicious and the threat score is 100 out of 100. So yes, the SHA-256 has an identical to VirusTotal and Meta Defender. With the antivirus results, you're able to scan and retrieve as a static analysis of 100% by a CrowdStrike Falcon. So it's much more easier for me when I use my static analysis, as it's shown that it's able to be done. Next, for the Falcon Sandbox reports, it is shown that its detection is backdoor ZSS and Trojan. So what are those? Those are a short form name for Zeus malware. They call it backdoor as ZSS, or you can call it as a Zeus malware. Its network is based on Germany, so as you can see, it's a network base. It's not a host base, so it's much more easier for me. So in my future report, I'm able to know where it is. And lastly, incident report. So what it does, it will shows you everything what the malware will do, and it's much more easier so that in my further analysis, I can look at identical as it has will be identical as what it shows right now in incident report. And it also can help me in my further report also, further analysis with other tools. So next, so it is crucial to ensure that the virus is not being disguised before doing any study on it. So it is to detect malware pack or obfuscated so that it is packed. If it is packed, we'll be unpacking it. The reason why we need to unpack is it is easier for us to analyze the malware when it's unpacked. So that's why we use Xinfo, it's on the left, and PEID is on the right. So in this case, our malware is unpacked. So next, we use WinMD5 to hash my files. So it helps to check with the hash so that if the malware has been modified when we download the VMware, it so that it is to in so that we know that the malware has integrity problem. As you can see, the hash HD5 and SHA-1 is similar to the WinMD5 hash values, and as compared to the SHA-256 here or VirusTotal MD5, it is identical. So yeah, so next will be now we are going to explain. Okay, now we're going to explain about the strings that we found in sorry, not string, the function of the dependent DLLs we found early on. As is found in the dependency walker. So firstly first, at kernel 32, it's another name of Windows NT based API client DLL lah. So most of the common functions that I found usually is NT function and RTL function. So as right now, I'll be explaining about NT function. Later, I will show you about RTL function. So it has quite a numerous functions of NT and RTL. So based on my research or check, I found that total there's a seven functions, seven NT functions. I found it as suspicious. So first, as you can see, NT create process X on the right side, bottom right. So it shows that the function can be used to create a new process on the system, which this function can be used to create a new files. Sorry. So with these functions, it may use to launch a malicious payload. Next will be NT-create file on the right side, bottom right, sorry. So NT-create file shows that this function can be used to create a new file on the direction on the file system, which can be used to store its payload and configuration. Next will be open process. So an NT-open thread on the top left. So with these two, this function can use to inject its payload into the process and thread. So next function will be NT-query system information on the bottom left. So this function can be used to obtain information about the system such as list of running process and loaded modules. So with this information, it's the determine to evade detection. Next, anti-duplicate object on the bottom right. So with this function, it can gain access to the function's memory. And lastly, anti-write file on the top right. So with this function, it can be used to create or modify files on the victim system. However, As this DLL is needed for all function programs that run on DOS, it cannot be classified as malicious based on this alone. Overall, all these functions might have malicious purpose. However, it is also often imported by legitimate applications, thus cannot be classified as solely malicious. Next will be RTL function. So what is RTL function? RTL functions are usually by Windows operating system that can be used for developers to perform various operations such as memory management, string manipulation, or file I/O. So in this RTL function, I've managed to find three functions on the top left. They are suspicious. So first, RTL create user thread. So this function can copy malicious command or payload into a newly created process. So in order to execute the malicious code in the context of a process. So this can be a technique of code injection, which is common to evade detection. Next will be RTL create process parameters. So these functions assures it also evade detection and persist on a system. And lastly, create process parameters. So this function can create a new process and execute a malicious payload also. So this command line, it might set in the command line to the payload location and set the environment variables the current direction in such a way to evade detection also. Overall, this function also have a malicious purpose. However, it is often done by a legitimate application, thus cannot be classified as solely malicious. Next, this is a user DLL. So we have done kernel 32. Now we will be going to user 32. So what is user 32? So user 32 is a contains function of GUI operations such as creating and managing windows, dialogues, buttons, and other GUI elements. So it's very important. It's very essential component of the Windows operating system, and it is used by many applications. So with this, I'm able to find two suspicious function. So those two function is get clipboard data and get clipboard owner. So get clipboard data. So it is to retrieve sensitive information that user has copied to the clipboard, such as password, URLs, or images. So next will be get clipboard owner. So these functions can be used by Trojan to determine if another process is currently using a clipboard, which could use to evade detection or manipulate the contents of the clipboard. Next, we'll be talking about string analysis. So we will be using a bin text. So first thing first, on the right side, sorry. So why we use bin text to find a string? So malware frequently includes strings in the code that were added by the programs to aid in the creation of the software. So string analysis is the process of removing strings from malware that might be used to determine a Pentagon's capabilities. So in this string, it may contain host name, IP address, or functions names. So these strings can be extracted by a bin text. So on the right side, get Windows text length W and swap mouse button. So it gathers information from upper windows on the system or to manipulate the behavior of the mouse. Next, on the left side, we have able to locate a suspicious strings on the left, quite a lot of it. So this might indicate the malware author is trying to conceal the intention by using a random text or a obscuring code. Next, we are able to locate a suspicious string correct.com. So this correct.com is indicates that it's a network-based indicator. It tries to connect to external URL or website. And lastly, XML version. So with this, we are able to locate XML file header, which might indicate that the malware might be writing information to an XML file. We use PE Studio for generic analysis. So why do we do that? So it offers wide range of malware related information such as such as date of the malwares, strings it has extracted, and resource it has imported. So overall, it's similar to what we have done, but it's I have explained just now, but it's more in everything in one application. So we managed to find a we have in this PE Studio, it have managed to find 19 they have been flagged 19 of the function imports. So on the first three, on the top, get capture, get Windows, text, lang W, and allow set foreground windows. So it is a windowing group. So it is okay. It leverage the Windows system that can evade security measures and carry out the malware. So get captured determine if the mouse is currently captured by another window and use this information to evade detection or manipulate the mouse input. So similar to get Windows text lang W, it retrieves the text associated with a window such as window title or label in order to carry out the target attacks. So next, get Windows variable A and get Windows variable B, AW. It has been flagged as a malware to leverage by accessing environment variables. Malware can gain information about the Win system and its configuration, which can be used to determine the location of system, directories, or sensitive information, or to evade detection by the antivirus software. Next will be get async key state and VK key scan A. So that both are flagged as is leveraging obtaining information about the state of the keyboard and the keys being pressed by the users. Next will be path rename extension A, find next file A, and write file. Yeah. So these three are flagged out as to manipulate the file system and carry out malicious activities on the compromised system. Next two key will be win exec and get current thread. So it is flagged as malicious activities or compromised system. So it uses for execution. It will launch a malicious programs or payloads, and it retrieve a handle to current thread, which can be used to manipulate the thread. And last five will be global add autumn A, get clipboard owner, get clipboard data, enum clipboard formats, and DDE query net server are flagged as it is to carry out malicious activities also. So first thing first, it can be used to create a global autumn, which can be used to store data and can be shared among multiple process. Followed by it can be used to access and retrieve data from a Windows clipboard, which can be used to steal sensitive information. And lastly, the server, it use dynamic data exchange server in the list of servers, which can be used to establish communication between two processes and carry out a malicious activity. And lastly, overall, all these functions might have malicious purpose. However, it is often imported by a legitimate application, thus cannot be classified as solely malicious. Next, we'll be talking about CFS Explorer VII. I have what I have also used CF Explorer VI. It's similar to PE Studio, and it has most of it as compared to what I just now. It has most of the function with what I have just said. So I will not repeat. I will not say it again, as it has similar function, similar strings. So that's all. That's all of my research. So lastly, in my summary for this static analysis, I found out that the Zeus analysis evade detection first of all, the evade detection. Second, you assess environment variables. Thirdly, you leverage on Windows system with the movement of the mouse and keyword that you type. Fourthly, consume and execute a payload. And lastly, you'll do a dynamic data exchange so that they are able to talk to the computer and talk to their own the attacker computer, the person computer. That's all. Thank you so much.